What happened was...
Hey friends, it's so nice to see you. It's today, the time is now. You are here and the weather is outside your window.
Hey there, and thanks for tuning in. I wanted to take a moment to speak with you today before today's episode formally begins, and that's because today's episode is a bit of a departure. We're not sticking with our comic lighthearted fare as per usual, but today we will be discussing some difficult topics, one being the war in Ukraine, and two being a phenomenal journalist who sadly lost his life. I just wanted to let you know in advance if you're not in the mood for such a conversation or if you have young children present. Bonnie Montgomery!
Hi!
Hi! Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Of course, of course. It was a big week for you, and we, had some really important conversations, and I just knew that I wanted to have you back on and talk about things because obviously there's a war going on in the world right now, right? And
right.
As is often the case when there's something going on that is not in our backyard, we don't necessarily know about it and it doesn't affect us. But you so eloquently put this week after a tragic loss that the war was on your doorstep for the first time in your life. Something like this was very close to you, and that you lost a beautiful soul, and our country lost a beautiful soul. The journalist Brent Renaud, who of course was killed tragically in Ukraine while covering the story over there. And you knew him, and you were asked to do the very humbling service of singing at his funeral in Arkansas this past week. So, this is a light comedy talk show, but I just thought it was important to have you on and talk about this, because as I was talking about this with people in my life this week, I just realized people really don't know what's going on over there.
No. And I may not have known either, except that my friend was an international correspondent and he did things like this his whole life. I didn't even know that he was in Ukraine. But yeah, when something like this happens, I'm just this girl from Arkansas. That was my connection to Brent, is we're both from the same home state. And then you find out that someone you knew and adored, got caught up in this conflict that you've only read about in the newspaper or seen video, and all of a sudden it's just like zoom into your own doorstep in your own life and like, whoa, this is happening right now. It's affecting so many people. And now it's affecting me and my entire community. And it's the first time in my lifetime that I've had a war hit my doorstep like this.
Yeah.
As Americans, we're so fortunate that in our generation, we've never seen that firsthand or felt it. I haven't felt it firsthand until now.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, of course, we've had many attacks on American soil, and but even that has kind of become generational, because we now have people who are becoming adults among us who weren't alive when 9/11 happened, and many people don't know what Pearl Harbor is and why that's important, because it was in the 40s. So yeah, these things tend to come and go quickly, but when there's distance like this, it sort of is like when the pandemic began in China, right? And everyone was kind of like, oh, that thing happening in China anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Flash forward years, it's a part of our lives forever, and these things have a rippling effect. Now, I attended the funeral virtually, and it was really stunning to hear about his life and his service. And what struck me particularly was the general who spoke, and he said that Brent really died for us because he was always putting himself in danger. And it was in order to give the story to us and to inform us of what's going on out in the world. And I know, like, this isn't the first notable event he's covered. He's a multiple award-winning journalist, and another journalist spoke and said, that there were 4 times they were together where they almost died. And so odds are kind of against you in that line of work. And that journalist was also talking about the Medal of Honor and how it used to be given to civilians and now it's only given to military. But he was saying that Brent really deserved a Medal of Honor for his service and courage.
Yeah, I agree with all of them. And he covered so many things. He was just all about the story. He was so, in many ways, so opposite of me as a showgirl, because it was never about him, And with my career, it's not about me, it's more about a connection. I believe that music is a divine connection between us and the other side.
Yeah.
So that's why I do what I do. It just so happens that you have to promote yourself, you have to put your own face in the spotlight. So, but for a guy like Brent, that's not what it was about for him at all. It was the opposite. He wanted to be behind the camera and only speak for those who didn't have a voice or couldn't be heard. And I've really been diving into everything that he did because I knew him as a friend and as someone who booked me for really cool gigs with his film festival that he and his brother started. This beautiful film festival in Little Rock that was super international and cool and had all these awesome parties and VIP events. And I knew him through that. So to see the scope of his work and all of the major outlets that he worked for and his Harvard education and all of that, and all of it was just to tell the story.
Right.
It wasn't for any kind of ego at all.
Right. Well, and so many at the service said that, he would have continued and done exactly what he was doing, even if he knew the consequences to come, because it was that important to him. And many have said that he would tell others to pick up your camera and get to the story. And that was really quite profound.
Yeah. It's interesting that I thought that was the case, but then to hear everybody saying it at the service confirmed that he was doing what his life's work was when he got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
So there is something to that, but I can't imagine the grief that his mother feels and his family.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really close with him. So we were friends through my music and through the film festival. So it was just amazing to meet everyone who was really close with him. And that's the beauty sometimes of being a musician, right?
Yeah.
Because what a tribute, what a beautiful heart expression for me to be able to express in the best way that I know possible, to be able to sing a song that his family picked for him. And how beautiful is that, just for me personally as an outlet and for my grief.
Yeah.
But then to know that it also touched other people and that it was the biggest tribute I could give. It's just pretty profound to think of what music does for us in those moments.
Absolutely.
And what role we play as performers.
Yeah, very interesting. It's, as you said, it's that connection to the divine, connection to beyond. And I was in awe of what you were able to do, even through emotion and in a high pressure situation with, it was a major press event. And I was just in awe of you in that moment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's very healing. And I know that you provided comfort to many people. Because there's something that when people are talking, we don't always listen, right? But music, we always hear, we listen, it affects us, even if we're not aware of it.
Right. Especially a song like Amazing Grace that we've all had woven through our lives for generations now. So
yeah.
no matter what your religious background is or anything else, that the tune of that song carries a lot of weight with it. Through the years, it's comforted a lot of people in very hard times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and it
Well,
was also, yeah.
I was just going to say, if you don't mind, I would love to share that moment from the service with the viewers, and just invite everyone to find their own healing, from your performance and what you provided for people, and just to think about those suffering in the Ukraine on both sides. You know, people are dying every day, thousands of people, and it's almost unbelievable that that could be happening today.
I agree. I agree. And it was through Brent's work that I found some really interesting and cool peace advocacy people who have been working in that field their entire lives.
Wow.
And they're all just like, this is senseless. And uh why do we have to have war? And that's what Brent was all about. He was trying to put an end ultimately to war on this earth through his work.
Yeah.
And, his vest said peacemaker with his press badge on it that he was wearing at the
Wow.
time. And what else is there to say?
Wow.
Peacemaker.
Yeah.
So,
How sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. I was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. It was grace that brought me safe so far, and it's grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. And it was grace that brought me safe so far. And it's grace is gonna lead me all the way home.
Well, that moved me once again, as it did when I watched live. Thank you so much for sharing yourself so beautifully and for doing what we strive to do as musicians, which is to be a vessel for the music and the words and to connect and build community. So thank you so much. That was really.
oh, thank you. And thank you to the whole community for allowing me to do that tribute for him.
Well, you do Arkansas proud.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And beyond. And beyond. Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, so you had a dream about Brent when you were thinking of what to sing, and this is before you knew what was happening. But and in your dream, he came to you and said, "Bridge over troubled water."
Yeah, I just they had asked me to sing for the service, and we were talking about what songs to do, and I just woke up like a bolt of lightning that night out of sleep thinking Bridge Over Troubled Water is what I should sing.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until the next day when I called my friend Matt and he said, um, that his life ended on a bridge.
Hmm.
And I felt like it was the right song because that
Yeah.
song, I love every version of it. Elvis, Aretha,
Yeah.
Willie,
Yeah.
of course, Simon and Garfunkel.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
And I just feel like it speaks beyond, it's universal. The themes
It
are
is.
universal.
It is. Well, and
Yeah.
we've talked about how that song specifically references, of course, JFK's assassination, Sail
Mhm.
Silver Girl, about the train carrying his
Mhm.
body. And yeah, it's one of those songs that hits in profound moments and brings healing and peace. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
well, that being said, do you want to sing it together
Yeah,
and
I do.
bring some peace today?
Yes.
All right.
I guess you wanna start or me?
I think you should, because you're, Arkansas Country Music Entertainer of the Year, Bonnie Montgomery.
Oh, that's why?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're Grammy nominated, Zachary
Gosh,
James.
but you got the trophies. I just have the nominations.
Oh my god.
So.
You okay, let's see. Okay. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
Beautiful.
You are.
Thank you for singing with me.
Thank you. It's always a treat. It's I was reflecting on this the other day. I feel like I've known you my entire life, and I've known you for many years, but really we got close because of the pandemic.
That's true.
We started
That's true
talking.
because
Yeah.
I think it's because we were both rolling so hard out there, touring in different places all the time, and we could never catch each other. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh my God,
Sitting at
Zachary
home.
James is just at home and I'm a composer. We got work to do.
We did. We did.
Yeah, we got to work.
We did, and we're still working.
Yes, we are. We got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
I'm again struck by what you did this week and what you shared, and also that you had this beautiful, profound, kind of unlikely connection with this wonderful man and soul because of music.
because of music. And
Yeah.
I was just blown away that several people that knew him much better than I did at the service and the get-togethers after that said that he listened. I'm trying this whole time not to get emotional, but he listened to my
Yeah.
music on his leisure time.
Yeah. Well, he
And
was
to
a big
think
fan.
that like an international hero, the bravest person, the bravest soul I've ever met, was moved by something. You know, as artists, it's so funny because you have these crazy, wild, harebrained ideas, and then you get in a studio and you cut a record, and then it's like this thing, and you're like, whoa, you're still kind of in shock that it's actually out there, you know?
Hmm.
But then to think that it's listenable and by an international hero is just like the biggest honor of my life.
Mm.
Who cares about awards? Who cares about accolades? The fact that someone with a soul that beautiful would listen, and that I maybe made his quality of life somehow, the music made his quality of life better at times. That's what it's all about for me.
That's beautiful. Well, is there any message you can give to viewers as far as I know when my family, we tragically lost my nephew, we just kind of told everyone to be kind toward others and do acts of service. What can we do to honor Brent?
I think believing that light will always drive out the darkness. Light is more powerful than darkness, no matter what our perception might be at the time. I think remembering that. And I also think having courage to do the right thing. He was so courageous and brave. And I think having courage to do something that may not be conventional might be the greatest tribute, especially if it's for the better of humanity.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Well,
That's
Bonnie,
just my interpretation.
no, I love that. I love that. Well, Bonnie, thank you for coming back on. What happened was you're a friend of the show and a friend of mine and a friend to the world, and you bring light into all darkness. So thank you for spending some time with me today.
Thank you. You do too. You're a light also. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'll talk to you soon.
That's all for today's episode. Puppies and rainbows till we meet again.